there was one group that we hosted every year, and they would stay in a summer barn, and they would use our other facility too, but they were growing. And they said that they were going to be going somewhere else next year because they needed more facility than we were able to offer. I said, so what does that look like? I said, if I were to winterize the summer barn and make that nicer, would that give it to you? They said, yeah, it would. And so I said, well, if you leave a deposit here, when you come back next year, we'll have one here. And they did. And so that deposit carried the note to do that building. So we tore that all down. That's when we took the summer barn and the office building and made that all in one building.
And that gave you bunks 5 and 6 and the private rooms?
Private rooms.
Yeah.
And the office.
Yep.
And then we had the store down underneath for the pool at that point too. So a gentleman that built that for me, after he was done, he drew it up and everything, and he was the builder. And after he's done, he said, I'd like to work for you full time. I said, well, there is tons of things to do here and lots of facility that's not being utilized. If you could figure out a way to increase our income to pay for your salary, you have a job. So we started another corporation called Hire Training, where we would train, at that point, telephone companies needed to insure their climbers. They didn't have as many bucket trucks and they would have to climb telephone poles. And so the insurance company needed to have them certified. And he would certify these guys here on this property. Well, that demanded facility. And again, it just seemed to be another thing that God did to push us along. Because what that did for us, we built facility that I would have never justified for Refreshing Mountain, but it was what Refreshing Mountain was needing and I didn't know it. The Hire Training thing fizzled out in a couple years, but that was the motivation between pushing for a lot of the facilities that we have and enjoy here today. Well, from that, we needed to have something to entertain these guys. So the idea, since we're already climbing poles, let's put a zip line in. So we put a zip line in, we put a 80-foot telephone pole. Oh, get this, I needed an 80-foot telephone pole. And I called PP&L, I said, I need a telephone pole. Do you have an 80-foot telephone pole? He said, we do. He said, we had it up as a temporary application, and we took it down, and you can have it for hauling it. The only thing is you need a permit to haul an 80-foot telephone pole. I said, okay, I'll figure out how to move it. So I called around, I said, how long a pole can you haul without a permit? 79 feet. We took a chainsaw, we made that a foot shorter. And so I took a set of axles, like people know, I watched them haul poles. I said, we can do that. So we took a set of axles, we took a chain binder, and we found a spot where it was pretty well balanced, and we chained the axle onto the pole, and we bolted a hitch to the other end, and I hooked it onto my blue truck, the one that you made the Legos look like, that blue truck. And I had George follow me in a truck.
George who?
Balser.
Oh, okay.
And I hauled it from Akron with my pickup truck home. And when I came in at Clay, when I made the turn at Clay, I was tight against the stop sign going around the corner, and when you would turn, it was like having a broom between your legs, because when you turn it really.
Right.
So when I would turn, I was going really slow, and the back of it got against the sign on the other side of the road, but just enough. And George was like, God, and the sign just went doink, and it was passed. and we made it home. And you would climb that telephone pole, and you would go down across the pond. And at the other end, they would put this big block on the cable, and hook that to bungee cords, and you would hit that, and that would stretch up and then send you back. If there was 3 safety devices. They had the bungee, and then if that didn't hold you, there was a cable or a clamp right on the cable. That would be sure to stop you. If it didn't, then there was a tree. So that was our safety procedures. A lot different than today.
Tree didn't send you back if you hit the tree, right?
Yeah.
Nobody would stop you.
It would stop you. Okay.
So that went pretty well, but it was a lot of work because every time when someone would go down, you had to set up a ladder and you have to get them to that ladder. You climb up and unhook them. They would climb down the ladder. You take the pulley off. You would have to take someone back up. They would climb that pulley back up, and you put it back on. You get another person. So it was a procedure. So we thought we need another zip line. So we put up another pole, just about 6 feet apart, and extended the deck over to that pole. And we put 2 zip lines in. Well, we needed something faster, so we would hook a string, and they would just run the pulley back up, rather than unhook it all the time.
After they were finished.
After they were finished, they would zip down, hook a string on, they would run it back up. But if they weren't real motivated, you had to have a cattle probe
Yeah.
to get them to run this pulley back up.
Uh-huh.
And so that was the next step and then there was.
Was that before or after Mr. B?
He was coming in the summer at that time.
Okay.
And then we asked him what it would take to keep him year round because he was teaching school. And he said, ask me. And then the builder that was doing that for us, he was having some struggles, and so we hired another builder. And he was the one that said, if you do a tour where you do a zip line to a zip line to a zip line, from tree to tree to tree, he said, they will come. And I looked at that bill and that price that he quoted me. I thought, how could you ever get a return for that? But we talked about it. We thought, let's try it. And so we did. And the rest is history. I mean, just one, from the 3 tours we have now to the climbing wall to the other things we do. And so then it's just more active. So the groups that come in, they what other activities can we provide within our structure? And and that's how they all develop.
Now we have more than they could do in one event.
We make it so they have to come back again.
Yeah.
I'd like to get back to when we first came here. Actually, we were fixing things up, and Sharon's brother prophesied over the camp one day, and he took a verse out of Isaiah 55 verse 5, and it said how the nations would come to us. And I kind of stood back to him. I was like, what have you been eating? I was like, I honestly didn't say it out loud, but I kind of like, really? And so, because I look around at the property, I'm thinking, who would even want to come here? But as of today, we've had every nation visit Refreshing Mountain. And so that's kind of, we have more story to tell here, but I want that to be something that you hang on to as you get older. How that God takes very small beginnings, and we don't see what all is going to happen in that process, but the journey is often looks a lot different than what the picture he sees for us at the end.
Sometimes when I walk down through this road and come back, and I just look at everything that's around here, and I think, look what the Lord has done, really. I just remember the 1 or 2 nights that we came up before we bought the property first, and we parked out here in front of what was the summer bunk, and walked down. It was pitch black. You could hardly see our little cabin of our house. Now you look around, it's like day and nighttime. It's like,
Yeah, it's night and
and
day.
it's just, how things have so changed from the first days that we were there. And God's done it. God has done it.
Yep.
He really has.
Because
He's
you
used us, but to him be the glory.